Hey everybody. I just wanted to do an update on what I was working on lately. I picked up a Jyn Erso from Savers 3-4 months ago for like $3. I think it was $3.99, and it sat around my house for a while, and I didn't know what to do with it. Finally, I come up with an idea, and well, here it is. I really need to do a video where I tear it apart, or at least butterfly it and show you what I did to it. But this is my Jyn Erso. What I have done to it is it has a 2S Lipo from Hobby King. Love Hobby King and their never-ending Lipo batteries. It's the 2S 1000 milliamp. I think it's a 25C. Yeah, 25C. 2S, and I kept the 2S so the electronics would still work, and the electronics still work. It also does this. So also what I've done to it, so it's got the 2S Lipo so the electronics can work, and I ran the Meishel 2.0 or 2.0s or Meishel 2s or whatever you want to call them, with stock flywheels, because I didn't feel like cutting up the flywheel cage, but I probably will anyway. Now, to also keep this kind of oh, and I got the 2S or the Meishel 2s from Containment Crew. They got them to me really quick. Really appreciate Containment Crew. What I also did is because the handle's kind of small, and because I did all the electronic stuff to it, it has the stock switch in it, the rev switch. But what I did do is I followed, oh, now I can't remember the name, and I just had it in my head before I started this. But I followed online, FoamData Services. Followed FoamData Services advice and put a Mosfet Transistor in it. So the switch, the stock switch controls the Mosfet Transistor. The Mosfet Transistor does all the heavy lifting of... I have not taken it out, but I'm getting really pretty good ranges on it. And so what that does is keep the low amperage from here back and the high amperage up here, because the Lipo is sitting here, runs back, and the transistor's sitting right about here, and the diode's right under the cage. And then it's just the 4 small wires, the two for, and then the 2 for the rev switch. And it also, let's see if we can. The diodes are still working. Oh, the diodes are still working. Let's see if we can. Yeah. There's the other. So the diodes even still work. I ended up going with like a 220 ohm resistor. I probably should have went more of a 100 ohm resistor, but hey, they work, and it goes. What I did do also on this, and we'll just leave this here for a second because I want to talk about these really cool darts. What I also did on this, as you can tell, that switch is gone, and the mag switch is gone, but I kept the trigger lock, because, well, you know, people pick up your blaster and just start pulling the trigger, which would force the dart into the motors, which would jam the motors up, and then they pull the rev trigger. So, and it's really not in the way at all. It slows nothing down. So I glued it up really well. It slows nothing down, but it keeps people from picking up your blaster and forcing a dart into the motors when the motor's not spinning. Yay. Now this, I think it's a Super Soaker. I think I actually got it off of a Super Soaker, and it was kind of beat up. So I decided I'd paint this, and I painted this a long time ago because I was going to do some kind of white and pink mod. That ended up what the paint scheme of this ended up being. Now it's just like, let's say I laid a coat of white vinyl dye on it. I took these out and took this off, popped the grips off, and then taped this off and painted, you know, the grip black, the same color black as this, as little grip inserts, and then the little jam door, I guess you'd call it, on an M16 or a AR-15. And then I took these out and painted them pretty much the same color pink. I think it's the same color pink. It looks pretty close, but I don't care. Probably because this was a lighter color than these were. These are a little darker. I also got some, I don't know if you can pick it up, but got some yellowing of the paint. It seems to be lightening up as the paint gets older, but I think what I did is I was in a hurry and I painted it white, and then painted it white with the vinyl dye first, and then white regular paint, and then cleared over the top of it. And I think I cleared it, I think I did the process too fast, and it kind of yellowed the paint a little bit right about here. Yeah, right about here. But it doesn't hurt the aesthetics. It's still a pretty good looking blaster. I have not had a chance to take this to a Nerf war yet, but I fully plan on it. This ought to run just as well as my Modulus, which is running Honey Badgers in it with a 2S Lipo. The same 1000 milliamp 2S Lipo. It's just a Zippy. Zippy, I haven't had any problem with the Zippies, but this is my latest project. I really like it. I even made a scabbard for it. What was I going to say? Anyway, I haven't fired it off much yet, but it's really pretty awesome, and it should be really awesome. And this is my little scabbard. I just learned to sew pretty much. Well, I've been kicking around with it, haven't gotten really very good at it. So today I went over to Savers and picked up a blanket. Yes, I love pink. Can you tell? I love pink. Picked up a pink blanket for like $2, cut it up, and set it up so I can pop off the stock, and in she goes. Then I can Velcro it shut, and then the stock goes in its own little pouch. The stock goes in its own little pouch along the side. That way, when I throw it in my bag, when I throw it in the bag to load up to go to the next Nerf war, I can throw this in that bag along with a couple other blasters and what have you, and not have to worry about it getting beat up, because I really like the paint job on it. And I was kicking around an idea of what to name her, because I named just about everything, and what I ended up going with is Jynny, because it's a Jyn Erso with an E, so it's Jynne or E. So Jynny is her name, and I really just love this little blaster. Also, and it actually looks really good with the Desolator stock. It almost looks like a girl's AR-15 or something. I know, AR-15's a dirty word now. How about a girl's Nerf assault rifle? Anyway, I picked up my second 500 of these really cool darts. They're pink on pink. I can find purple all day. My wife's color is purple. Mine's pink. I can't find pink anywhere. But I found pink, finally. They're kind of a hard tip dart, but they seem to work really well, and they seem to fly pretty good. I haven't warred with them yet, but I will be. So now that gives me 1,000 pink darts. And my wife now has, well over 1,000, I think, purple darts. She has the waffle tips, a combination of the waffle tips and the Z-tips. Z-tips work really well, but you can't get them in pink. Damn it. But anyway, so what I'll probably do is order more. I got the white glow-in-the-dark waffle tips, which would be good for this because the charging diodes still work. Anyway, so I'll probably get more of the white Z-tips and take them to battle as well. There's a group here in Utah called Utah Nerf Foam Flingers, UNFF, Utah Nerf Foam Flingers. And they kind of had an impromptu battle last weekend, which was great fun. I mean, that was my first battle. Great fun. And that I took my Raven, which my Raven has a 3S Lipo, stock motor, stock flywheels, stock switch, but a full rewire, 16 gauge, and that's what I did to Ginny, and with all just the stock, I mean, it works pretty good. And as an afterthought, I ended up taking my my Modulus, which was the first heavy mod, my 25-cent Modulus, which I decided to name Quarter Horse, because I bought it for a quarter from at a yard sale. Quarter. Anyway, it's called Quarter Horse, and I took it, and it performed so well, I ended up running it the rest of the day. And I guess for the first time and first modder and, well, everything else, it impressed quite a few people. And I was able to cover other people while they tried to advance by, distracting the enemy. I was able to distract the enemy while they, I covered them because I could lob foam quite a ways. So to recap, I want to thank, and they gave me nothing, but I'm thanking them anyway. Hobby King for my batteries, my endless supply of batteries, my endless supply of 16 gauge high silicone wire. Containment Crew for their motors. I haven't got a bad motor yet from them. They're great little motors. I do have a sack now of 5 sets of motors. I think my 4 rhinos and 2 honey badgers and 2 no, the honey badgers I got somewhere else, but my 2 remaining Meishels and my rhinos I all got from them, from Containment Crew. And I think, if I remember right, maybe they didn't. Maybe that was somebody else, Jace 3D. Anyway, I'm building next a Demolisher 2-in-1. And my wife and I had already come up with the colors, which should be really cool. But anyway, so I'd like to thank Containment Crew, and I'd also like to thank, I think that's it. Yeah. FoamData Services for the idea of the Mosfet. That's the second time I put a Mosfet in. I did the Mosfet on my Modulus and played with it all day and did not have one little problem with it. I don't know if I got hot because it's buried inside, but I'm thinking when I build my Rapid Strike, I want to try and build it with like a a pusher motor controller so I can control the speed at which it feeds darts. The flywheels will just spin as much as a 3S can give it, but I want to be able to control the rate of fire, not so much the distance or the hit, but the rate of fire. Because hoses are great when you want to hose, but you don't always want to hose. So, and I was thinking about doing 2 MOSFETs, one to control the motor and one to control, one to control the flywheel motors and one to control the pusher motor through the DC motor speed controller. And so I'll be running, I'm sure, 2 MOSFETs. I'm thinking about mounting an external heat sink, some way to make it look, I guess, kind of steampunkish. But thank you, FoamData Services, and I guess that's all I got. So, love ya, and spray mad foam, yo.